name of Chad van Beurden that topped the standings, after Bottrell dropped down the order thanks to his gearbox problems. Ashley Haig-Smith was up into second place, with Richard Leake third at the rally midpoint. Paul Franken had moved into fourth, while Bottrell was left nearly 4 minutes adrift of the leader, having to mount a fight back from fifth. For day 2 of the Tour Natal Rally, round 1 of the South African National Rally Championship for 2015, the stages were much closer to the coast. First up was the 18.9 kilometre long Montevideo, which was run 3 times on the final day. By now it was clear that Bottrell would have to dig deep if he wanted to salvage anything after his disastrous final stage on day 1. But it wasn't to be. The defending champion suffered brake problems on Montevideo and recorded a time of 19 minutes 51.9, more than 4 minutes down on the eventual stage winner. That stage winner was Ashley Haig-Smith in the AHS Ford Fiesta. His time of 15 minutes 22.3 was 1.7 seconds quicker than that of young AC Potgieter in a Volkswagen Polo, who was taking part under Super Rally regulations after not completing day 1. Ernie van der Walt, also competing under Super Rally regs, posted the third quickest time, with Andrew Hine just 1.2 seconds behind him. Matthew Basie-Lyle followed, with Paul Franken behind him. 2 names were, however, clearly missing from the stage results: Chad van Beurden and Richard Leake. The Volkswagen and Ford crews suffered a similar fate when they went slightly wide after a blind press, landing hard on the side of the track. It was game over for both crews, bringing an end to what was shaping up to be great performances by both. The Tour Natal Rally swept on regardless of the casualties left by Montevideo and continued on to stage 8, named Ellingham. This 25.3 kilometre long stage can only be described as a monster and has been the scene of many upsets over the years. For Guy Bottrell, however, it was the scene of a return to form rather than an upset. The young Durbanite set the quickest stage time yet again after sorting out his brake problems. His time was 20 minutes 2.1 seconds. That's some 42 seconds faster than the time posted by Paul Franken, who went second quickest on the stage. Matthew Basie-Lyle, however, matched Franken's time to the second, but that was really the last of the highlights. Rally leader Ashley Haig-Smith had gearbox mount problems, which made gear selection difficult. He posted a time 1 minute 10 slower than Bottrell. He still had a comfortable lead, so no reason to panic yet. But there were some chinks showing. Stage 8 also saw the demise of Andrew Hine and Robbie Coetzee in the Hine Sport Volkswagen Polo. The pair ran wide on a turn and ended up beached in soft sand. Unable to extricate their rally machine, they were forced to retire. Next came a short visit to the Dunlop Service Park, which was clearly much needed by this point. So after 8 stages, it was still the name of Ashley Haig-Smith who topped the standings. He was the best part of a minute ahead of Franken, with Basie-Lyle now up to third. Bottrell was hanging on to fourth, with Andrew Hine, despite not finishing the previous stage, in fifth. With the stages unwinding, it was time for a second run through Montevideo, this time as stage 9 of the rally. With Haig-Smith possibly in trouble and not all that much time separating them, it was Paul Franken and Henry Kern who pushed the hardest on this stage, posting a time of 15 minutes 16.6, not shabby at all. But then the rally leaders Haig-Smith and Van As were having problems with their gear selection and lost more ground when they posted a time 16 seconds slower than Franken. Not quite enough to lose the lead of the rally, but reason for concern nonetheless. Matthew Basie-Lyle and Scott van Beurden were third quickest on the stage, followed by Guy Bottrell and Simon Basie-Lyle, who were doing their best to salvage something from round 1 of the championship. Stage 10 then came next and was comprised of a second run through the 25 kilometre long Ellingham, a tough stage to put it mildly. For Paul Franken, it was another opportunity to take time out of the stricken Haig-Smith, and he posted a time of 20 minutes 13.3, that's nearly 30 seconds quicker than the Ford Fiesta driver. But Franken was still 7 seconds behind with 1 stage to go. It was getting tight at the top. Behind Franken, Bottrell posted the second quickest time on the stage, but he was more than 2 minutes 30 behind the car in front of him, so taking 11 seconds out of Matthew Vasey-Lyle as he did was just not enough to have a meaningful influence. With 10 stages done and dusted, it was time for a quick visit to the Dunlop Service Park before tackling the final stage. And what a stage it promised to be, with Haig Smith holding a slender lead of 6.8 seconds going into the final 18 kilometres. Franken had been reeling in the stricken Ford, and Matthew Vasey-Lyle was looking strong in third. Bottrell was pushing hard, but would likely have to settle for fourth place. The final stage of the 2015 Tour Natal Rally was a third charge through Montevideo, but this time the stage had the added attraction of being run as a WRC-style power stage. This meant that each fastest crew would be placed on a podium of sorts until a faster crew beat their time and knocked them off. It was a crowd-pleasing affair for which a mass of spectators turned up. For Paul Franken, it was an opportunity to post another stage win as he went quickest of all with a time of 15 minutes 14.6. In the process, he took another 12 seconds from Matthew Vasey-Lyle in the Fragram Toyota Etios, with Guy Bottrell coming home another 12 seconds back. Bottrell had slotted in behind the Class NRC2 Datsun Triple S of Brian and Keith Hine and was caught in the dust of the older machine. The big question, however, was what happened to rally leader Ashley Haig Smith and navigator Damien van As? The pair had failed to emerge from the stage after their AHS Ford Fiesta gave up the ghost just 2 kilometres from the finish. In a cruel twist of fate, Haig Smith was denied the win, handing the laurels to Franken and Kern in the process. This meant that Franken picked up the 2015 season where he left off in 2014, with Vasey-Lyle taking a well-deserved second place. Defending champion Guy Bottrell clawed his way back into third, while Haig Smith was demoted to fourth. Andrew Hine took the last spot of the top 5. And that was that from the Tour Natal Rally. A great win for Franken and Kern in the Manitou Volkswagen Polo, making it 2 wins from 2 starts.
Yeah, we picked up the season where we ended last year, so hopefully we can keep the momentum throughout the season and score consistent good results.
Next up is the Sasol Rally, which takes place in the Lowveld of Mpumalanga on the 17th and 18th of April. We'll see you there as the 2015 South African National Rally Championship continues.